Okay. So I am making the follow-up video here for the last little bit. I can't tell you what a battle this belt was. It was a hell of a fight. So when I was doing the snaps for this belt, so there was a dilemma. You know, what snaps am I going to use? Am I going to use silver? Am I going to use gold? And look, as with a lot of things off of Amazon and from the lower tier items that you'll find, there are plenty of manufacturing opportunities, is what we're going to call it, anomalies, or there's some things that weren't perfect. And anyway, in the course of this belt, I had a good time with just going. I dyed the edges and got everything sealed up, and I put some Lexol on it. I put some glove conditioner on the back so it's in great condition. It's flexible, all that stuff, right? And the dilemma came, okay, so it's this chocolate colored belt. Am I going to put the dual plates on it? Am I going to put the gunmetal plates on it? And then depending on which snaps do I put on it? Well, I've always used gold snaps. So anyway, the opportunity came to use the silver snaps. And let me tell you something. I bought them from the same seller, just different different colors. And I don't know if one had been returned or anything like that, but like the snap box, if you guys ever do your own snaps or anything, it comes with supposed to come with a piece of hardware that you place underneath of the snaps to hammer it into. Now, some of the guys use the press. Well, anyway, this piece and the punch piece were only in the gold. I happen to have these. If I had bought just the silver, I'd have been up shit creek because they didn't put one in there. Whether it was returned and taken or whether it never made it in there or whatever the story was. So I've not seen this belt. I'm going to turn it over here for you guys. I know what it kind of looks like because I took all the plates off all the belts and we played a whole wild game of which belt is going to go, which plates are going to go on which belt, which snaps, okay. So to finish the snap story, the silver snaps not only don't have that hardware in there, they're actually shorter snaps. And it was a miracle that I got the male or whatever their versions on here pretty easily. The silver snaps might tell you which belt's underneath here. And on this side, I had to mix and match them which it'll make sense here in a second, but they're all silver on this side, but I mean those silver ones were so short that they wouldn't go through the belt. And I've never had problems with any of the gold ones, so I pulled out some of the gold bottoms and knocked it out. But I must have gone through like 20 females or whatever. That it just kept jacking them up, and I'd throw them away. And so anyway, this is the kind of stuff that can happen if you're doing your own belts. You run into these. I mix and match the snaps. Why? Here, I mix and match the snaps because we mixed and match the colors. It's beautiful. I don't know how much this Edison light that's up here that's kind of orange is going to show off this brown that's in this belt, but it is friggin' beautiful. And we'll test out the flexibility and everything here. Yeah, you can't. Sorry to say, that's going to be pretty perfect. So that's like my version of whatever a crumb rind or whatever would be. So that's got the chocolate color to it. It's got silver snaps to match the silver and the belt. I had actually, and I wish I had almost, that I edited videos sometimes, but I don't edit videos. And I took a few of them and sent them to some of my guys on Facebook and said, hey, check this out. Because what I had done was mix and match I mixed and matched the plates, like dual gold and gunmetal. So here's what the gunmetal looks like now. The gunmetal is on black with the croc backing. Essentially, I switched out the dual plated that was on here to give it to the new crumb rind kind of deal. So very nice, very, very nice. And I would highly recommend, like if I ever buy a Lux, or Lux Essentials is what I would buy because I'm going to do my own leather. This would be perfect for that. As a matter of fact, I have about 3 more to 4 more belts worth of this leather. So yes, I would heavily consider putting a Lux on there. And I still need to land one of those gold versions of these. So currently, the antique one's upstairs. I'm not going to go get it, but this is the all gold. This is the dual gold here in front. We've got gunmetal. And I probably will end up, and I may do this right here on this video, I probably will end up switching out these side plates just so I don't necessarily like how much black is in this belt. And that's a personal preference. So I am going to perform surgery on these 2 belts. Boy, that's a beautiful belt. I don't know how much it shows up in the in that Edison light, that orange, amber, whatever light, but maybe it shows up in here. Let me try. This is what I had to do earlier. I put it down on the counter and then approached it from the side where you could see the chocolate color that it has. And it's just, I mean, this thing is just, it's just been beautiful. It was a pleasure to work with. We cut that out. I sanded it, went over it with Toconol. I dyed the edges, acrylic, on the edges. They're not perfect. I mean, it's my belt. It's my little baby, but it's very, very nice now. I put the and this is a little darker from doing it, but I put the glove conditioner, the lanolin, the vitamin E on the back, and it is super. Here you go. It is super flexible, which is, that's the thing that everybody seems to look for. I don't know if it'll sit up on its own or any of that fun stuff people like to have happen. It should on this. This is a 10-ounce leather. It's a heavy weight, so I'm going to guess that it'll sit up if you really want it to sit up. One of the things that I have done when it has 4 or 5 plates, like the universal belt, you can actually sit it here and you can position the other plates so it'll hold the belt. This is not true with this belt, but I'm guessing that just positioning it the right way will hold it up. It's kind of embarrassing to do this test live and it not work, but yeah, it works fine. And it's a heavy weight, and it's I'm telling you, that chocolate color in that thing, and I don't know how much any of it shows through, but it's fabulous. It's got that really, really interesting look to it. So, and it's, I mean, here, you don't take my word for it. Let the video speak. But yeah, it's going to do anything that you want it to do. And like I said, I bought enough leather. When I bought this, this was a giant hide that was probably, it had to be almost 5 feet wide, and it's almost 5 feet long because I got some 55-inch belts out of it. But that means, that thing's great. And then, people always want to hold their belt like flare because it's so long or whatever. Well, you can. I mean, this thing is going to fold like, it's no problem. No fuss, no muss, no bends, no cracks, no nothing. And you can do the whole, whatever the thing is. Whatever the I don't know, but people have their own desires for what they want with these things, whether they're cosplaying or whatever it might be. You know, Flair used to do the thing where he'd fold it like this and throw it over his shoulder, or you know, there's all kinds of people who've done it different ways. Hogan would come out, and he didn't have the crumb rind, but you know, Hogan would come out with a giant belt and do his, you know, guitar string and things. So that is a beautiful choice. A friend of mine and we debated, and I debated with a couple of guys that I do some other work with, what was the best combination of colors, and that seemed to be it. So I'm actually going to extend this video for just another couple of minutes, and I'll show you the possibilities here. Now, I've never seen anybody do this. I'm sure it's been done, but for the purposes of YouTube, we're going to say that until somebody else produces evidence, this is the first time it's ever been in a video. So what I'm going to do is use my double ratchet screwdriver here. We're going to always keep a container of some kind. This time I'm going to use the lid for this jar. Won't take but just a quick minute. Get these screws off of here. I've seen people use the electric screwdrivers or whatever. It's really not necessary. Matter of fact, what we'll do is just go ahead. We'll just do this real fast. I know this is entertaining watching a guy run a screwdriver, but look at him go. I've been up for a lot of hours. It's actually like 3:40 in the morning. I went and bought the stuff for this belt and I said this, I think maybe in the earlier video where I was telling somebody, but I bought the stuff for this belt about 12:30, 12:40, whatever. Drove home, so I got about an hour in travel for this belt each way, so that's 2 hours. Called up my dad. I said, hey, you know, can I use the shop? And then the belt had the holes punched and all the cutting done in. I mean, we took longer than we could have or should have. I mean, we sat around and watched some of the. Seems like U.S. I don't pay attention to golf, but whatever U.S. is it GA or whatever, whoever was playing today. You know, all the handicaps and pars and all that stuff were just wild. They were running wild on the TV. It doesn't seem to be threading the way I want to. If it's going in at an angle, folks, and there's a good opportunity to learn something. If it's going in at an angle, and it seems like you need to, like, you know, because some people will do that, like they're trying to kick a door shut or something. If it's going in at an angle, back it out, straighten it up, screw it back in again. Do not force it and strip the screw out. That's a big no-no. Tell you, there was a young man who messaged me, and if he sees this video, my apologies for blasting you like this, but there was a young man who messaged me because he was having trouble once upon a time with a screw. It had gotten stripped out, and he messaged me and he says, what do I do about a stripped screw? And I said, you just take some pliers and pull that motherfucker out of there is what you do. I mean, it's not attached to anything. If it's stripped, you just, you know, you need to put some force on it and pull it out. And he kind of gave me this, like, wait a minute now. Then I can put the other screw in there? And I said, no, you can't put the other screw in there. The threads are gone. And he didn't understand what the threads were or anything. So his level of familiarity or his vernacular for hardware or whatever was not very deep. And so I had to walk him through a couple of things. And I can't remember how he got it. He was having a whole breakdown in communication with me, and I've been working with tools and hardware and building houses, birdhouses, and finishing things, and cutting blinds, and using a saw and everything else my whole life. Matter of fact, I had never used, I will say this, I had never used a chainsaw until this week, so that was pretty cool. Used an ego-powered battery-operated chainsaw when I was clearing out this trail down in Meisenheimer, North Carolina. That is not fucking good. What is going on with that screw? That's embarrassing on a YouTube video, ain't it? Okay. So why is it giving me a hard time? There's something in that hole. That's what she said. But anyway, he didn't have much experience with screws. And he had a hell of a fight on his hands. And so he ended up with this whole problem because the back of the belt that he had was covered. And since the back of the belt was covered, he was left with a kind of a problem because he wanted to get the plates off of that belt. That's a perfectly good screw. That looks like it's going to be stripped out. So you might get to see something live and in color right here. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be stripped out. So you might get to see me perform some magic live on the air here. Let's see. I'm going to try this one more time. I don't really want to have to do this, but I will. I will. Don't tempt me. Okay, that's all right. That's all right. So, what we're going to do is put that on hold for just a minute. Go to the other side here. Pull the other screws out. So the screw that's stripped out there is from the gunmetal belt. It's a little older. And the cover of the screw, some of the screws, or the paint on some of the screws, they have their own set of issues. So I don't know if that belt at some point in the past had, somebody had attempted to change something, or if there were problems and they tried to repair it, or what. I don't know what the story is, but now we got a stripped out screw, so we're going to work a little bit of magic here in a minute. I'll show you what I do. Really, the problem is I couldn't leave well enough alone, and I'm performing this emergency surgery on this set of side plates live on the video. But the reality of it is that if you are messing with your belts much, and a lot of people will take all their plates off or clean it, they'll do a variety of different things that they're just going to unscrew and put back screws. And it's just the nature of the beast that at some point the manufacturing on some of this stuff reaches its breaking point. Now hopefully you don't ever experience like a series of really bad things with it, but I've never had more than, I think I've had a belt with like 2 strip screws at the same time. And so it was one it was one I bought. It was the nickel WWWF belt has a couple of spots where I think the screws on some of the side plates, like way out to the end, were just not cooperating, and they were stripped out. So there was no hope of using anything that was threaded, because all the threads were gone. So I had to learn, and that's when I learned how to do the JB weld. All right, so here's what I'm doing, and this might be stupid now that I've stripped that screw out. But here's what I'm doing. I am mixing and matching the side plates so that I have a gunmetal with solid gold side plates. And then, well, obviously you'll see here in a second, I'm going to have the all metal with gunmetal side plates. At least that was the goal for the video. Now it seems like it's kind of foolish, and I'm gonna have to just undo all this. But you know, it ain't bad. Anyway, that's where we are. I hope that if you're tagging along, and especially if you sat here and left on a belt video for this long, that you know a few things about a few things. And if you're one of these guys who's really good at doing this stuff, and you're like, hey, that guy's a damn idiot, that's fine too. But I hope you're having a good night. I hope if you have belts, you're enjoying them. And I got to tell you, I was very happy. Very, very, very happy to stay up and finish this belt, because it took the better part of 8 or 9 hours to finish out. And like I said, it's flexible, it's durable, it just shines. It's just great. So I don't know how much it shows up in that light, but I mean it's fucking beautiful. You can't get that on WWE.com.